Hello everyone, Bandit here, and teens, they seem pretty cool. As someone who began watching Survivor as a teen, I always wondered how well I'd do. You may feel the same if you're a teen watching this very video. While everyone's different, and therefore I can't provide an exact answer as to how you'd do on Survivor, we can look at every teen that has competed on the show and see how well they do on average. On season 42 of Survivor, Swati Goel is a 19-year-old contestant set to appear, and they meet the teenage threshold. At the time of recording, Survivor 42 hasn't begun airing yet, so I don't know how well Swati does, and therefore the only statistic she can currently affect is how often teens are cast on Survivor. With Swati included, there is a 19% chance you'll see a teen competing on Survivor. If we count the 11 contestants that have competed on Survivor and the 62 total Survivor seasons that have aired, or in the case of Australian Survivors Blood vs. Water, are airing during the creation of this video, then there's an 18% chance you'll see a teen competing on Survivor. The teens covered in this video will be Spencer Dom, Natalie Tenorelli, Brandon Hantz, Julia Sokolowski, Will Waugh, Michael Yerger, Jessica Peet, and Keith Sowell. At least for Survivor US, because across the waters we also have Katinka Uthzulan from Survivor South Africa Philippines, Lou McClintock from Survivor New Zealand Nicaragua, and Jane Dalton from Australian Survivor 2002. Apologies if I butchered any of your names. Overall, for the Survivor contestants that have played, it's a pretty even split, with 5 of them being male and 6 of them being female. As for ages, as you may expect, the majority of teenagers cast are 19, with 8 out of 11 of them having this distinction. Only Will Waugh and Michael Yerger are 18, and I think Jane is. I say think because the Australian Survivor page on Wikipedia had her age as 16, which would be kind of weird if true. Therefore, I went with the Survivor fandom's info of 18, and the ages just matched up better anyway with that. It's at this point of the video where I want to give my usual spoiler warning that pretty much everything about these contestants are going to be spoiled on these seasons, including placements, immunity wins, idol finds, you name it. If you want to click off now because of this, then that's fine. I would much rather have a lower engagement percentage than annoyed viewers. For those that stayed, let's get the show back on the road. Out of all the teams covered, only one of the 11 have returned, and this is Brandon Hantz on season 26 Caramoan, Fans vs Favourites, where he returned as a favourite. Obviously, Brandon was no longer a teen at this point, he was 21, and despite that behaved like a 12-year-old. But it's still interesting to note that Brandon has been the only teen to return. Natalie Tenorelli got close, as she did make the top 32 shortlist, but failed to be one of the 20 that got a shot at redemption on season 31 Cambodia, also known as Second Chances. It's important to note that season 9 of Survivor South Africa, Return of the Outcasts, is in the works. Apparently, it is an all-star season for Survivor South Africa, just without winners or runners-up. This means Katinka, who we covered earlier on in the video, is in contention and is a semi-likely returnee due to her getting 5th in Survivor Philippines and getting idled out by Werner in such spectacular fashion. If she does return for the season on the horizon, then yes, she will be the second teenager to make a return. Out of the 11 teams, there has been one medevac by Lou in Survivor New Zealand during episode 5. On day 10, she felt ill and then was later taken out of the game due to the infection on her foot. Surprisingly, no teens, despite their age in comparison to their peers, have quit the game. The teenager that has made it furthest in the game is Natalie Tenorelli, who got to the end with Philip and Boston Rob in Redemption Island and got completely destroyed by the latter. Even Philip manages to secure a vote from Ralph, resulting in her finishing third as a 0-vote finalist. And if Natalie's game is the closest you teens will get to winning Survivor, then oh boy. The earliest eliminations include Jessica in David vs. Goliath and Keith in Edge of Extinction. Both were booted from their tribe second, although funnily enough, both individuals can be considered as being the first eliminated on their seasons. This is because Pat wasn't voted out of the game, but instead medically evacuated, and Keith chose to raise the flag on the Edge of Extinction with Wendy when quitting the game. Something that Reem, the first boot on that season, didn't do. And man, were we happy about that.
I can't be fake about it. We're oil and water, so why are you even sitting next to me? Water's over there. Roll on over.
On average, overall, teens place 11th on a 20-person cast. I chose a 20-person cast from my initial base, as 6 out of 10 of the past 10 Survivor US seasons have 20 people on their cast, and 20 is just a nice round number. However, we can still transfer this data, resulting in teens placing an average of 10th on a 18-person cast and 9th on a 16-person cast. So the average teen is eliminated pretty much around the middle point of the game when all placement scores are tallied up. Essentially, the teens that do well, like Natalie on Redemption Island, Katinka on Philippines, and Brandon on South Pacific, cancel out the less than stellar placements provided from those like Jessica on David vs. Goliath, Keith on Edge of Extinction, and Lou on Nicaragua. Individual immunity wins are something hard to tally up, as Spencer, Keith, Jessica, and Lou all are discounted from the rankings due to being eliminated pre-merge. For the remaining 7, there are a few immunity wins to cover. Firstly, Natalie won immunity at the final 12, the merge of Survivor Redemption Island. Brandon wins the final 5 immunity challenge in South Pacific. Julia won the final 9 immunity challenge. Will won the final 13 challenge, which happened at Millennials vs. Generation X's merge. This challenge was called Fools in the Rain, and would you look at that? I have a video on this channel teaching people how they can win it. Perhaps you can check it out after you finish watching this video. Nonetheless, Katinka wins the final 9 immunity challenge in Survivor South Africa Philippines. Overall, the average teen stands just under a 12% chance at winning individual immunity, which might not seem great, but considering you can be competing against up to 12 people in some challenges, the odds aren't bad. When it comes to hidden immunity idol finds, we have to discount both Jane and Lou because idols weren't available on their seasons. The only teenager to find a hidden immunity idol in their season was Michael Yerger on Ghost Island. However, in this season he found 2. This results in a 22% chance for teenagers to find an idol, which again, considering the improbability of finding an idol, especially on older seasons, this isn't that bad of a result. Unfortunately, when given a sample size as small as the one we have with the teens on Survivor, it makes it hard to predict results. For example, if the next teen that competed on Survivor found 2 hidden immunity idols, then the idol find rate jumps from 22% to 40%. That being said, such an outcome would be an anomaly, and the information gathered in this video can be used to build an expectation of the average teenager that competes on the show. You'll also notice I was referencing a lot of percentages without showing my working out. For those people that want to understand how I got to my outcomes, I left a Google document in the description outlining how I came to my conclusions. It's quite statistic based and consists of a lot of maths, so look at it at your own risk. One final thing I want to end on is what I said at the beginning of the video. that you'll only have a 18 to 19% chance to see a teen on a season of Survivor. While that's true, quite a few of these teens covered on this video have recently appeared on Survivor. For example, since 2016 to 2018, we've seen Julia, Will, Michael, Jessica, Lou, and Katinka all have their games aired on TV. That's over half of the teens on this list appearing in roughly a 2-year span. Let's also not forget it took until Survivor Season 18 Tocantins, 9 years into Survivor's lifespan, before we got our first teenager in Spencer to compete. The future is definitely bright when it comes to seeing teenagers competing in the next few Survivor seasons, and it'll be cool to see if the next teenager will meet the predictions set in this video. Once again, thank you all for watching. I really do appreciate it. Leave a like and subscription if you enjoyed this video, and as always, peace!